is the moving averages. They're like, these three are critical. That's what I practice, and that's what I learned from my mentors too. If you look at, there are 28 indicators. Uh, just to give you an idea what it is, on tradingview.com under technicals. So I typed in Apple. So you look at these indicators, they're like 11 oscillators and then almost 17 moving averages. These are 28 indicators. My suggestion is the lesser the indicators it is, it's better and easier to make a call. The more you get involved with more indicators, you get more confused. So I stick to 3. The market has close to 28 indicators on the tradingview.com, but I stick to these 3. If time permits, we can touch base quickly on this. Otherwise, we'll cover it in the next session. So moving averages, 200 moving day averages or 50-day. I take it with 8-day moving averages or 21-day moving averages. So that's the moving averages. The next common momentum indicators is the relative strength index. This basically determines the strength or the weakness of a stock price. I'll explain in detail and I'll show you practical examples of how each moving averages or the indicators work. And the last but not least, the one that I stick to is MACD, moving averages, convergence, and divergence. Don't get caught up with the wording and the details here. We'll go practically on that. So let us just cover one moving average, and also I'll try to show the RSI. Let's try to look at Apple since we are at this page. So if you look on the top, this is where I input whatever the ticker symbol I want to look at. So I chose AAPL, Apple. And then these are the durations. So if I click on hourly chart, it shows me the hourly cumulative stuff. If I go on the day chart, it shows me the day stuff. So if I were to turn on these moving averages, so the indicators are basically under this FX, indicators and strategy. When you click on that, it pulls up. So that's where you type in moving averages. I put a star next to it. I just click on it so it stays under my favorites. So that's why you see I only keep these on my favorites. We'll go one by one if time permits. Otherwise, we'll cover it in the next sessions. So a simple strategy on the moving averages, just like a simple, if you don't understand the whole thing, just a simple thing. Let me just turn on the pulse moving averages, just to give you an idea. Turn this off. Turn on pulse moving average, then turn on RSI. All right. So this line that you see, the blue line, just make it a bit thicker. Change the input to 21 days. Why I'm doing 21 days is it's a Fibonacci number. Like if you were to add 2 consecutive numbers, like 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 1 is 3, 2 and 3 is 5, 5 and 3 is 8. So on and so forth. So Hull's moving average, it's a moving average. And I kept the length as 21. So if I'm in a daily chart, that means 21 days moving average. If I'm in hourly or weekly, then it corresponds to that average. All right, so that blue line is that moving average, and this RSI is the relative strength index. For now, just don't worry about the definition. We'll get to it later. Just want to give you an idea, right? So I'm changing, like this is where you can change the candle. Like I can represent the candles as a line, or I can represent it as hollow candles, or I can represent as solid candles as we just saw. So I'm just going to the line. So if you look at it, if you look at this day, right? If you look at August 28th, so the price was like what, 124.66 after the split that happened. So at this instance, the price went above this moving average. The simple strategy is when the price line moves above the Hulse moving average for a duration of 21, that's a buy signal. And if that price line or the indicator comes below the moving average, the Hulse moving average, then that's a sell signal. And what's an RSI? We'll get to it in depth more, probably in the next session. I'll cover the definitions and stuff. RSI is a relative strength index. It goes from 0 to 100. Let me just make it a bit bigger. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
If the RSI, if this stock, this relative strength index indicator goes above 70, that means this equity or the stock is in overbought territory. So if it's in overbought territory, it has to come down, because the range is 0 to 100. It cannot just like climb up beyond 100 and just go past it. So if it hits this 70, that's why you see two different colors. The box starts at 30 and it's at 70 here, right? So it has to live between the two. If a stock goes above 70, that means it's an overbought stock. It has to come down. So at this point on August 28th, I posted in my family and friends group that sell Apple, because it's already at a higher I think probably at this point I told to sell it because that was the limit at 134. And the correction was coming to the market. We'll get to it later, why that correction happens and how to predict or anticipate those. We won't be able to pinpoint exactly, but at least we can get close to that prediction. So
Sorry,
yeah,
a
so
quick.
at this point, so I made that call, but sell Apple because it was hitting the RSI. You see the RSI number here. So if I point here, it shows the RSI as 81.89. So it's 10 points above that normal range of 70. So it's in highly overbought territory. And if it's below 30, that it means overly sold territory. If it hits 30, then it has to go up. There's no further going down. I mean, like there are instances, if you go on the left side, let me just go a bit on the left side. I think Apple, yeah. So if you look in the left side, I went up to, this is March, right? The max it went, this is, it's like 28.6 or something, right? Coming back to August here. So this spot, right? So if you look at this, right? So this was the call, because moving averages wise, it's already here and it's hitting that Hulse moving average. that's a sell signal. If the price goes above the moving average, that's a simple buy signal. If it hits and goes below, that's a sell signal. It's a simple. If you don't get anything out of this, then the least is, if you understand, if the price goes up this moving average, that's a buy signal. How? If I turn on these candles, you can see this price went above the moving average. This was all bullish. When it hit, it was bearish again. Then it was like, struggling, going sideways. Then it hit above, it went up. Then it was again bullish. Then it went down. And it's still like going sideways and struggling. So if I go to the line, that shows clearly.
But
So
how to know
let's.
that it's crossing and going above the moving average? Because at that time,
Mhm.
what is that indicator? How we can decide that?
See, we are at 23rd September, right? It's already hitting that Pulse moving average.
So
When
if we
we are
look at this E,
when we were here, you look at the trend, how that this this RSI's trend is upwards, and even this trend is upwards. If you come to this point, you can see the price trend and as well as the RSI's trend. It's all pointing downwards, right? Once we
no,
get to a point of adding the MACD to it, we'll have a better, clear understanding on how these indicators kind of work.
So Moy, one quick question. So when you said, I think a little bit, on the left side, if you move on the moving average, you said it was a kind of buy signal. No, on that same thing.
Here,
No, on the like go on the right. Sorry, more
here,
further right. No, further right. Yeah, here, before, just before that. You said it was a buy signal when it was going up, and then your relative strength was, although it was kind of beyond that 70%. So how do we correlate both of them? Yes, exactly that point.
yep. So that's the thing. See, when it's above 70, it's already a red flag. It's flashing red light. It's flashing red light saying it's already overbought. But still, the trend the trend of this line is upwards, and this line is upwards. Let me turn on one more since you're talking about it. I'll turn on the MACD also. Close this. I'm here, right? So just bear with me. The blue line that you see, right? That's the line. If it's above the red line, that's a bullish signal, as you can see it with the the green candles here shown. And if the blue line is below the red, it's all like bearish territory. And MACD is moving averages, convergence, and divergence. We'll get to it in detail, the definition, what's the background and stuff like in the future sessions. I don't really want to like bombard you guys with all the information in one instance. So for now, like at least for this session, try to understand how the Pulse moving average works. That's a 21 duration. If you're looking at a day chart, 21 days. If you're looking at weeks, then 21 weeks. If you're looking at months chart, then it's month.
So
Your voice is breaking. I cannot hear you.
sorry, I was just saying the reason why you had that anomaly end of August was because of the split happening. So that's where, even though it was overbought, people still bought more shares because of the split.
Yeah, generally that's the thing. But see, like, by looking at this RSI and by looking at this moving average and by looking at this MACD, we can predict the trend of the market. At the same time, we can also understand where it will head next. And also with regards to the correction on the S&P 500, let's look at S&P 500 index, right? So look at this trend. So anytime if you have like 8 to 10 consecutive days of bullish trend, there has to be some correction. So in this duration itself, I sold most of my stocks, except like a couple of stocks. In this duration itself, because the way the trend was coming along, you can see this RSI here. Let's say on September 2nd, right? After September 2nd, let's just like measure it from here. Roughly, I'm just like eyeballing it. You see what the descent is? 7%, right?
Mhm.
Can you see that?
Yes.
And where did the descent start? At a RSI of 82, well above that overbought territory, right? So by just looking at this and the moving average and the previous trend of like, bullish trend, bullish streak without any correction or adjustment, can you guys say that, yes, it's flashing red light?
Yes.
So that's the reason I sold most of my stuff here itself. I didn't even get to this point. Like if you're like a risk taker, you can do that. Most people say that, you go with Warren Buffett's idea of like, buying a security and holding it forever. I don't really buy that idea or kind of agree to it. If time permits, we'll see why. But just to give you an idea, you see this, let's go to Jan. I'm looking at S&P 500 again, okay? Let's go to Jan first,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we can see some other month. Yeah.
So let me draw a line, right? All right, so let me draw a line here. I'm just like eyeballing it, okay? All right, so 3236.9, right? January 1st. I'm just like eyeballing it. It's not, don't hold me for it. So if a person says that, okay, I'm going to just buy a stock here, just leave it forever. Even though it dips here, was highest here, dips again, go back again, go, goes again, then comes back again. So look at this price. At Jan 1st, whatever that 3236 is, again, are we not at the same level, 3251? So the person who bought, let's say, let me just give you an example, any of the S&P 500, it's 500 companies, some are more bullish than the other. I'm just giving you an idea. If somebody bought a S&P 500 index, that is SPY, right? That's an ETF. So what profit and loss was? He's at zero, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, for 9 months, his money is not the same, right? There is inflation attached to it. So he may have like a $10,000. It's $10,000 with whatever the difference in inflation. But if he is smart enough to just kind of look at these indicators, like just go in there, look at these indicators, sell before it slides down, and buy here or sell it here, or buy here and sell it here, or buy here and sell it there, you know, just to understand, like, you know, what the percentage is. Let's see, from here. Percentage. Trying to eyeball.
33%.
So why would you lose your hard-earned money? Just some news is saying don't worry about it, even though you have like indicators suggesting otherwise, you know, with the bullish trend. Of course, this was a once in a lifetime thing with the COVID news and stuff. But see, even when you have a buy signal here, look at that RSI and look at this MACD with the upward trend on the blue line. So any questions? I think I overloaded you guys with too much information.